PopCap Games are back at the helm of the sequel to 2014's Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare. With PopCap's amazing humor and witty takes on a world controlled by both zombies and plants, there are infinite possibilities on where the zany jokes can go next. The humor is suitable for all audiences, young and old alike. It all begins, well, at the beginning. You're dropped into the backyard battleground just after about a minute's worth of training. The backyard battlegrounds where almost everything takes place. Story mode, character selection, treasure hunting, vending machines, etc. It's one massive map with 3 defined areas, the zombie base, plant base, and a middle ground where it's all-out warfare. As the game drops you in, it explains practically nothing with an overwhelming amount of places to see, things to do, with a lot of stuff glowing and flashing and moving around you. Plants and zombies are at war with one another, and then you're off to do whatever you see fit. That may sound good for some gamers, but not so good for others. Essentially, it levels the story mode down to practically nothing. The reasoning behind all of these attractive outposts that are begging to be explored all at once was PopCap's idea of eliminating a menu list. Another downside is the fact that there is no pausing in this game. You can be in the middle of a battle, press pause, and an options menu of screen adjustment and sound pop up, but it does not freeze the game within the background. This is because the game is connected to the EA servers and thusly always in online mode. This problem could also be found on the newest Need for Speed game, which is also an EA franchise. With almost no real story to speak of and a lot of places to explore, you'll quickly find the waypoint to the first objective. That is, if you decide you want to do that first. Remember, this game is about deciding what you want to do. Soon thereafter, talking with the characters that ask you for favor after favor, it becomes apparent that this is simply a fetch quest single-player game with a few unique twists and turns thrown in for good measure. Some of these quests, such as finding a remote controller, are standard fare for many generic type games. Protecting characters as they make their way through the battleground or shooting targets in a certain amount of time are also standard but not overly used. Controls for each character are laid out similarly. Right trigger is shoot, and LB, RB, and Y are special abilities. As I mentioned before about how the game doesn't explain much, I almost died in training because it didn't inform me that I could even shoot. I kept hitting the special abilities, but when hordes of zombies were after me, those abilities didn't work for very long. However, precise shooting, fun powers, and awesome abilities really helped this game hold its ground. Speaking of characters, Garden Warfare 2 has a lot of different characters to choose from, with unlockable abilities, customizations, and features for each one. It's insane to see how far they've come from the last entry, and this really had me thinking. This game with all these characters such as Rose, Corn, Sunflower, Zombie, Zombie Stuck in Outhouse, Behemoth Zombie, legendary characters, etc. made it feel as though EA is plotting something for the future of the series. This may be way out of left field, but Garden Warfare 2 gives the vibe that EA are going for their own version of Skylanders. I can see it now, all these massive amounts of characters becoming figures in future DLC within the next entry. All these characters are unlockable and available within the game. What's cool is that characters from the original Garden Warfare are transferable to Garden Warfare 2, including their abilities through the mailbox in the backyard. While exploring this well-sized world, you may eventually come across vending machines. These machines use in-game money that can be earned many different ways, but mostly through missions and multiplayer. These vending machines sell collectible sticker packs. Each pack is randomized and gives a small description and price before purchase. Cards can contain characters, abilities, weapons, and so much more. They're cool to collect, but the better sticker packs are quite expensive. After exploring for about an hour as a plant, I came across a machine that let me switch sides, instantly morphing me and transporting me to the zombie side of the map. Here you'll find a nearly identical layout of the plant side of the backyard. A zombie who gives the main missions, a multiplayer hub, vending machine, leaderboard, etc. It's just zombified, meaning a bit darker and creepier, but still friendly and hilarious for any age. Here, the missions are similar to the plant side. It's nice to see split-screen play utilized and running well in games these days still, along with the solo ops that allows for those who aren't quite ready for online to get a feel of the game and get better with what they are in for. Finally, the online mode of Garden Warfare 2 is where the real fun begins. There are a variety of different game modes to choose in multiplayer, and there's definitely something for everyone. These online game modes include Welcome Mat, which is a mode where only core characters with no upgrades are permitted. It's designed for people new to Garden Warfare Online. In Team Vanquish mode, battles take place between the teams, and the game ends when one team reaches 50 vanquishes, whereas Vanquish Confirmed requires players to grab orbs similar to Capture the Flag in other online games. In the Suburbanation mode, the player needs to hold strategic points, and in Gnome Bomb, you take on the role of a gnome bomber, and it's your job to plant a gnome bomb on the opposing team's garden or tombstone. And lastly, the Mixed mode, which is a blend of every game mode together and is meant for the person who wants it all. Each mode is similar to most other multiplayer game modes, with the twist of using hilarious zombies or plants. The modes I was able to play during early access ran smoothly with minimal lag and no screen tearing of any sort. The tower defense strategy gameplay on some multiplayer games was a lot of fun and made me forget about the drop-in style single-player confusing gameplay. After it's all said and done, Plants vs. Zombies Garden Warfare 2 is a success with its vast multiplayer selections to choose from, but with an unnecessarily confusing single-player. This is definitely worth trying out for those who are fans of the PvZ universe. Garden Warfare 2 is a hardcore game for casual players, but for hardcore players, it's just too casual.
If you like what we're doing, please go ahead and click that subscribe button. See you soon!